Well, we've got author Cliff Ratza on with us, who's published articles in 4 professional journals, written copies for client websites, and developed press releases for newspapers and client customers. And he's recently released his Lightning Brain book series. And of course, he's with us here. How are you doing today?
Well, good morning, Toby. I'm doing fine. I'm in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
But I'm sure you're doing a fine job in Perth.
I'm in the UK here.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Yes.
well.
Not too far from another Perth, though. But how would you describe your Lightning Brain book series overall?
Lightning Brain series traces the odyssey of my main character, Electric Kittner. And the books are a blend of action and adventure, political intrigue, science, future projection, and mystery. And the book is futuristic. It starts, the first book in the series starts in 2095.
Ooh, so way into the future.
It'll get here.
What made you want to write a book set in the future?
I was looking for a way of writing my perfect storm, which in my case is a blend of political intrigue. I've got a Donald Trump-like president baked into the politics of my books. I have a techno plague. It's a man-made mutant virus that escaped from a Chinese laboratory. And that is like our, COVID-19. And I have Middle East terrorism. So that's my perfect storm. Three items that are affecting us. And I needed to create it, so I figured the best way to do it is in the future.
And how has it been predicting the future? Have you tried to make it realistic, or have you just decided to have fun with it?
No, it's everything I write is based on science fact. It's science future projection. It's not some, a wild fantasy where you have to suspend disbelief. And I take current events and project them into the future. And I've got a number of degrees, so I've got a pretty good handle on stuff. I make no predictions about my crystal ball, but I've been able to forecast a realistic future.
Yes. Do you think that this stuff is quite likely to happen then?
Yes, and here are some other things that I see unfolding even greater in the future. Artificial intelligence and biotechnology, and how we're going to be doing more genetic manipulation.
And how long did this actually take you to write?
The first book in the series, it's The Girl with the Lightning Brain. I wrote that about 4 years ago. And I've got 7 books now written, and the 8th book is being published now. But I had like 30 years to develop my overall plot and theme for the series. I would say that I can write a book in a year, allowing 3 months for research, 6 months to write, and then 3 months to edit. I could do it faster if I wanted to, but I want to enjoy the process, and I have to sometimes force myself to dial back the intensity because writing is such fun.
Yeah. And how do you research? Because, as we've talked about, a lot of it's in the future. So, is it that science that you talked about that you have to sort of work out what could happen in the future?
Yes, and actually, I've got degrees in mathematics and physics and business and liberal arts types of stuff, computer science as well. And today, with the internet and Google, I can do the research all by myself, because I can just sit at the keyboard and search for whatever I'm looking for regarding science or history or religion or politics or philosophy. It's all there at my fingertips.
It's interesting because sometimes on the internet, it's easy to find misinformation and stuff that's complete nonsense. Have you came across that, or are you quite good at knowing what is and isn't nonsense?
I know what you're talking about regarding, this misinformation. And I try to use my experience and my common sense to separate, the real truth from the false truth.
Yeah. Writing 8 books. Is it hard to still have inspiration and motivation after so long?
Actually, there are 5 books in my first series, 3 books in the second, and I'm already working on the next book, which will be the third series. Each series extends the preceding series, and it sets the stage for the next series. So I'm lucky that my books have a breadth and depth of characters and storyline and plot that when I finish one, I have many directions I can go.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have, isn't it?
I'm fortunate that I like writing, and I've got a pretty active imagination, and I've never had writer's block.
Do you believe in it nonetheless, even though you haven't had it? Do you think it maybe could happen in the future?
I don't believe it will happen to me. It could, but I don't think it will. And I do realize that it can be an issue for many writers. In addition to being an author, I'm also a writing coach for Prime Solutions. That's my hybrid marketing company. And as a writing coach, and I attend videos and talk with people, and I know that there's a large population of authors out there, all looking for advice, and many wanting to know how to handle writer's block.
Do you think that in the future you will do more books that aren't within this series?
Well, I'm sure you know who Kirkus Reviews is. They're one of the best professional reviewers. When I ended my first series, Kirkus didn't know that because no one knew it. No one knew I was going to end it. And Kirkus said when they reviewed my fifth book, this series shows no signs of slowing down. I deliberately ended it because I wanted to give something, something different for the readers in the next series. If I run out of items to talk about in the next series, then I will try another genre, develop another character or two.
And why 2095 as well? Why not 2100, for example?
I could have chosen that, but I wanted to save 2100 for a turn of the century event for Electra and her allies.
Yeah. And how far in the future do you think you will end up going?
Well, right now I'm about in the eighth book. I'm in 2165, I believe.
Wow.
And there are many science fiction series that project thousands of years ahead. That's fine for some writers, but for me, I'm taking current events and projecting them into the future. And each projection I make in one novel takes the projections a little bit further in the next novel. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah. And this thing is, the vast majority of readers right now will not be able to find out if you were right about your predictions. Does that annoy you, or are you quite glad that you won't be able to find out?
Well, actually, if they take a look at what I predicted for the first book, we have a technoplague. I call my plague the technoplague. It's a man-made mutant virus that escaped from a Chinese laboratory, and it causes early onset of dementia, like Alzheimer's. So if readers of the first book and reviewers have already told me that I did a great job predicting what might happen in the not too distant, that's 2092 future, because we have COVID-19, we have a harsh Donald Trump-like government, and we have Middle East terrorism still roiling the world.
Yes. And it's interesting because even if that doesn't happen in the late 2090s, it could at some point still.
Yes. There's a famous saying about history. I think this was by Mark Twain. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And one never knows how many verses there are going to be. So I believe much of history is recurring. And what I've done is simply trace out some of the recurring patterns, but adding new twists to it.
Where can we find your book series everywhere and keep up to date with you, of course?
My books are available online at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, as well as other online bookstores. And people can find out more about my series if they go to my book's website, which is lightningbrainseries.com.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for coming on the show today. It's been great to talk to you.
Well, I thank you for having me as one of your guests.